This is Scenic Roots. I'm Ray Bassett. Thanks for joining us. On Thursday, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee will visit Chattanooga to celebrate the future of the downtown riverfront. The state of Tennessee is investing $15 million in Evolving Our Riverfront Parks, a project to revitalize the riverfront. Governor Lee will join Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly, Hamilton County Mayor Weston Wamp, State Senator Bo Watson, former U.S. Senator and former Chattanooga Mayor Bob Corker, and other local leaders for Thursday's celebration, open to the public at Ross's Landing, 201 Riverfront Parkway, starting at 9:30 a.m. Dawn Jelsit is with River City Company, the downtown development nonprofit, and one of the partners in the project. Dawn, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Ray.
Tell us about the celebration on Thursday.
Big celebration happening on Ross's Landing. Everyone is invited to come and join us at 9:30 a.m. Governor Bill Lee, along with Senator Bo Watson, will be there to celebrate the tremendous gift that the state of Tennessee is contributing to the riverfront projects.
And this is the most sweeping refresh in that area in years.
That's right. It has been a moment since those parks have been touched. You think about the early 90s when the aquarium was created, the Hunter Museum, the River Walk, the Creative Discovery Museum. These were all projects that happened in the early 90s, early 2000s with River City Company in partnership with the city and county. The Riverfront Parks, it was actually May of 2005, Ross's Landing was open to the public with the 21st Century Waterfront. So here we are. The parks haven't seen any sort of investment in them since then. And so this is an opportunity for us to take all of that community feedback. We've heard from thousands of people, things that they would like to see and do and experience in the riverfront parks. And so now we can bring those to life. Share with us the timeline for this project beyond the celebration on Thursday. So we're really just moving into the next phase. The next part is construction documents. That's not the super fun part of a parks project, but so important. So that will take us to about the end of the year. And so through that process, we'll understand timing of the phasing of the riverfront parks, but we hope to start construction in spring of 2026. So shovels in the ground about this time, maybe a little bit earlier next year, but there's a lot of work that has to be done in between now and then. And so again, working in partnership with the city and county, understanding those phasing components, but also these parks are home to some major events. And so we have to think about how do we work through construction to accommodate those events. And then, of course, that's a big question that we get. Are those things going to stay in the riverfront parks? And yes, we've been working alongside of all of the event organizers since day one. And so we're really excited that we can have both major events and a place that families want to go 365 days a year. And with the phasing, there will also be a need for more fundraising. Yes. Senator Bo Watson, alongside of Governor Bill Lee, it was amazing that they put $15 million into the state budget for this project. The city and county are also supporting this project, but there is the opportunity, like most projects in Chattanooga, we hear this public-private partnership. There's ways that people can get involved and help make this possible. And so we encourage them to come out on the 5th and see more about the plans. If you're not able to, though, join us on the 5th, there is a website that has all of the details about the different elements that are going into the parks. And for people who want to check it out for themselves, where can they go online? They can go to riverfrontparkscha.com. All right, Dawn, thanks so much. Thank you, Ray. Take a romantic comedy by Shakespeare and instead of in the Bard's world, set it here in Chattanooga. Next, gather a cast of 10 actors playing more than 20 roles. That's the formula for Twelfth Night, opening Friday at Chattanooga Theater Center for ages 10 and older. Dylan Kussman is the director, and Kim Jackson plays 2 of the roles. Kim, Dylan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Tell us more about Twelfth Night at CTC.
I was approached by the artistic director, Rodney Van Valkenburg, last year about directing a production of Twelfth Night in the Circle Theater at the Theater Center, and I was very excited to be able to say yes and to bring sort of a fresh contemporary take to the material. We decided that we were going to set it in present day Chattanooga and use a lot of the design elements of downtown Chattanooga as part of the set design and costume design. And we also decided to have all of the characters in the play played by 10 actors, which meant that pretty much every actor in the play is doubled up in 2 different roles. That made for just a really exciting prospect, and it's coming together. We're so excited to see where we arrive as an acting troupe on opening night, Friday, June 6th.
And Kim, tell us more about how you're doubling up in this production.
I am doubling up as the Countess Olivia, and also someone who works for Orsino. So in our production, Orsino, Duke Orsino, is the mayor of Chattanooga. That's how we are presenting him. And so my other character works for him in his office. So my larger role, with more stage time and more lines, is Olivia, and the smaller role is Curio. And it has been so much fun because Orsino is in love with Olivia. So to be able to play this other very smaller role who actually serves him in his office is super fun. And spoiler alert, Billy Pate, who plays Orsino, is playing Olivia's waiting woman. So as actors, it's kind of super fun for us to know that and kind of wonder how many audience members figure that out and have a little chuckle. There's lots of things like that within this production that the audience should be on the lookout for. It's super fun.
Talk more about how each of you have handled Shakespeare in the past, either on stage or producing behind the scenes, and how that experience has flowed into this production.
So I'm going to let Dylan take this, but I have to say it's exciting for me to be creating this with him right now for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is his most recent experience as an actor with Shakespeare. So I'm excited for him to share that with you guys.
You're being too modest, and you have lots of
I'll talk about myself. I promise. I will.
Okay. I've been doing Shakespeare since I was a college student at UC Berkeley. I played Henry V in the basement of a pizza parlor. I played Romeo in the San Francisco Shakespeare Festival of 1991. I did a year at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland, Oregon, where I was in Macbeth and Richard II. And it's been a part of my acting life for a long time. And as Kim mentioned, I've recently returned to America from a French tour of Julius Caesar with the National Theatre of Brittany in France. We played 3 different cities in France where I played Julius Caesar. And it was quite something performing an all-American production of Julius Caesar in front of French-speaking audiences. There was something very charged in the atmosphere about the theater experience with all these people watching the depiction of the assassination, the bloody assassination of a would-be tyrant on the stages of France. And it just reminded me of how relevant these plays still are 400 years later. And every time I dive into one and every time I explore one with actors, and that's the only way to really explore a Shakespeare play, the writing is meant to be said aloud and listened to. It's not meant to be read on the page. And whenever I get the opportunity, the very rare and precious opportunity to work on this kind of text with actors, I learn more about the plays, and I feel more and more that this play, and in particular Twelfth Night, has so much to say to us right now about love, about madness, about what people will do to get what they want, about sacrifice, about loss, about discovery. So I'm just a big fan. I'm a big fan of Shakespeare's, I guess you'd have to say, and I feel so lucky to be directing one. This is my first Shakespeare play that I've ever directed. I've acted in a lot, but this is my first directorial effort with Shakespeare. So I'm very grateful to the Theater Center, to Rodney, and to Kim, who's a member of the board there. You're still a member of the board, aren't you?
I am, yes.
So anyway, I'm just very grateful for the opportunity. It's been such a kick. It's a real hootenanny. It's a real blowout. It's fun, isn't it?
It is so much fun. So I think you can tell why I'm so excited to be working on this particular production, because this might be his first time directing Shakespeare, but Dylan just brings this depth and wealth of knowledge and like boots on the ground experience with Shakespearean text that makes it super exciting as an actor to be able to collaborate with him. So I go way back with the Bard as well. I think we've talked about this before, Ray, that as a young pup, when I kind of realized, oh, I'm an actor, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I love doing the best, I just had it in my head that if I could study classical theater, if I could figure out how to do Shakespeare, if I could perform Juliet for a modern audience and have them really understand that timeless story, then I could do a Crest commercial or whatever it was that came my way as an actor, right? So I just kind of had that in my head. And then I had the privilege of studying classical theater in a really cool program at Kennesaw State University. And as a college student, I got to play Juliet, so that was exciting. And that led to an invitation to be a part of the Atlanta Shakespeare Company at the Shakespeare Tavern in Atlanta. And I worked with them for a couple seasons. And then throughout my professional life, I just kept going back to classical theater and to the stage, no matter what else I was doing. And so Shakespeare has just always been really, really special to me. And since landing in Chattanooga, I've always thought the theater center should be doing Shakespeare all the time. And so it's just super exciting to me that Twelfth Night is about to open, and that if you've seen the season announcement for next season, which opens in September, for the 102nd season of the Chattanooga Theater Center, we're once again doing Shakespeare with Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. So Shakespeare has a special place in my heart. And this show in particular, this is the second time I've been able to be a part of Twelfth Night. And I'll go ahead and share that, over a decade ago, Dylan and I shared the stage in a production of Twelfth Night, which was actually at the Theater Center, a different company, which is not in production anymore. It was called Shakespeare Chattanooga, did a production of Twelfth Night, and he and I got to share the stage together. So we've shared the stage as actors in Shakespeare, and he has actually directed me on camera before, but this is the first time he and I have gotten to explore this kind of relationship with him directing me on stage, and it's fantastic. I would do it again and again and again.
And for people who want to check it out, they can go online to theatercenter.com, theater, R-E, center, R-E.com. Dylan, Kim, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Loneliness is a problem today for many men and boys, and a gathering this weekend here in Chattanooga offers a community for them. On Saturday, Impact, or Men and Impact, hosts Where Men Connect in Chattanooga's Miller Park, starting at 8 a.m. Brandon Clift is the founder of Impact. Sydney Garrett is the founder of Be the Change Youth Initiative. Brandon, Sydney, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here again.
Tell us more about what's coming up.
On June 7th, we're meeting in Miller Park for our second annual Men's Mental Health Matters event, and the theme this year is about community. So helping bridge the gap for men that are experiencing isolation and loneliness, and bringing together some of Chattanooga's best clubs and communities in one place so that men have options.
Last year's summit focused on mental health. This year, loneliness. Talk more about why.
Last year was actually a resounding success. It went better than actually what we anticipated. 200 people plus showed up, and that was about bringing together mental health resources. So therapists, counseling, various non-profit mental health centric communities here in town. That was great. A lot of men got the help that they needed, but we also recognize that that's quite a leap for a lot of men and boys to go, I need to get professional help. And so this year we thought, what if we lowered the bar and made it a little bit easier for those of us that have been raised that, if I need to get help, I need to admit that something's wrong. So for men out there that are
And you need somebody to admit it too.
Yeah, bingo. And some of us in our home lives or in our communities, we can't do that. It's too dangerous. It's too risky. Well, that's the story we tell ourselves and how we've been raised. And so what if, for the men and boys out there experiencing isolation and loneliness, they want to join a car club a running group, a beer brewing group, a Dungeons and Dragons league, a kickball league, frisbee, whatever. There are so many amazing communities here in Chattanooga doing incredible things that recognize that men and boys struggle with connection and with loneliness. And so we're bringing them together so that, people can show up and go, all right, let me check out Improv Chattanooga. Let me check out the Bluegrass Club. Let me check out all these different things we got going on.
These low-impact on-ramps to grassroots community connections.
Yeah, that's something Chattanooga does really well, too.
And Sydney, talk more about your role in this and Be the Change.
Yeah, Be the Change Youth Initiative is a partner with this event. My mom has been on the board to make this thing happen, which has been amazing. And we're also bringing a bunch of musicians from Be the Change Collective to perform during that event as well. We'll have In the Company of Wolves there, which is me and my brother, Sam Stedman and Andrew Witherspoon. Also, we're going back to community, right? Community is really important. We're also going to have a table set up there to talk a little bit about the work that we do. One thing that I appreciate about it is even though it's a men's mental health event, everyone is invited to the table, the families, the kiddos, all of the people that are in these men's lives. We're talking about the importance of how to show up for one another. So when we can be vulnerable, when we can share these things that we're going through, it builds this and strengthens our community even more. So a lot of it is about partnership. It's about community. It's about meeting like-minded people that understand this and want to challenge and support each other in it. And that's what's really cool about being able to do this all together.
And talk more about some of these opportunities that are out there that this summit will highlight.
A big opportunity more than anything is just broad exposure. Because many of these communities, self-admittedly, they'll tell you that although they've got a great service offering or they've got a great community, they may not be the best at marketing it. So it's giving them the chance to really show up and show off what they're doing and what they're building. And so everyone who's invited, all the partners are invited to bring their own communities as well. We're going to be doing a 100+ person cold plunge at 9. Last year we had 80 people plunge, which was pretty incredible. And it was the highlight of the event. We have a mental health run, mental health yoga, workout happening earlier in the day, then the cold plunge, tons of live music as Sydney shared, and really just an opportunity to build connection because sometimes, I love that you said it's a family event, sometimes men just need a nudge because there's this dichotomy. We've been raised to not talk about our challenges and our experiences, yet what does it take to develop a really strong friendship? It takes vulnerability. So that creates this weird middle ground. And sometimes we just need a nudge by the people who love us most, our kids and the women in our lives, to say, you know what, Dad? Or you know what, hubby? You need to get out of the house more. I'm sick of looking at your face. And there are some great opportunities out there to find that community. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day.
How do you keep your balance as you do this work? This is for both of you, of course. Sydney, you've been quite open talking about your background and your brother and his struggles. It's a question for both of you.
Yeah, I honestly think finding the right community and the right people that you trust is really important. I think also it does take the encouragement because sometimes you feel like if I share certain things about myself, people will judge me or think less of me, especially with the mental health conversation. There's so much stigma around it and a lot of people don't know how to even talk about things like I'm struggling with depression or I'm struggling with anxiety. I think I was encouraged at a very young age to step into these conversations and be honest about things that I'm experiencing. But also, it does take that encouragement. It does take that piece of being able to say, I know the people that I'm surrounded with right now, they're a safe space. And it's about creating that culture around this type of conversation. It takes that little nudge, like you were saying. It's so important. And we can't do this thing without other people. We can't live life without community. Community is so crucial, especially being able to go not just to the benefit of our own mental health, but also to the benefit of serving our community for the better.
Well said. For me, it has been my men's group. 9 years ago, I found myself in a really dark place. I had built my life to be alone. Even though I had a very forward-facing brand and business in my hometown in Australia, I'd never been more isolated and alone. And I recognized that I couldn't do it alone. I had set up my own trappings and I needed help getting out. And a men's group in town presented itself. I got involved and I just became obsessed. Never missed a Tuesday night where I got to be with other guys from various different stages of life, various different challenges. And we were just there for each other. And what I love is no one was there trying to fix each other, because I know that's very natural as men. We want to fix things and problems. I've learned that in marriage, that don't try and fix the problems. Yeah. But having men that love and care about me enough that I'm not related to, that aren't in my friend group, that can hold me to a different standard. that I can share with them what it means for me to live in integrity, and they can lovingly call me in or call me out if I need to be called out when I'm not living into that integrity, that thing that I claim that I want to, how I want to show up as a husband and a father. And so that support has been phenomenal. And you know who loves it the most is my wife. Because I'm not dragging those balls and chains with me through our relationship and through my relationship with my daughter. I have a place on Tuesday nights where I can take this stuff, so I don't have to bring it to her. Some of it I will, but some of it is I'm going through a thing and my wife's like, how can I support you? And I say, it's something for the guys. You know, I need to bring it to the men's group. And so my marriage is very thankful for this men's group, and it's honestly a cheat code in life.
And for people who want to check out the summit, where can they go online?
It's very basic. Just type into Google MPACT, M-PACT, Chattanooga. It's the first thing that's going to pop up is the Eventbrite. Go ahead and register. You'll see the agenda on there. You'll see what all the offerings are. And it's also on Facebook as well if you want to look it up.
All right. Brandon, Sydney, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Let's talk about Richard Wenham. What Richard Wenham means to me began 6 years ago. I was living in New York, and there was this job posting here at WUTC in Chattanooga. When I dialed up the station online, there was Richard's voice. As he does, Richard shared local music and music of many genres. In between songs, he peppered the breaks and the conversations with his insights and his knowledge. It's fair to say, without Richard, I would not have applied at WUTC, and I would not be here today. After I moved to Chattanooga, Richard was so welcoming, as he is for so many, on air and off air. Wherever I go in this community and there's music, I hear again and again about how Richard brought that music to WUTC for all of us. Thank you, Richard Wenham. We'll see you at Barrel House Ballroom on Sunday, June 22nd, starting at 1 p.m. Details online at WUTC.org. I'm Ray Bassett. Thanks for listening to Scenic Roots. We come to you from the studios of WUTC at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Email us at scenicroots423@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at scenicroots423. Listen to us online anytime at WUTC.org and the WUTC app. Join us again next time for Scenic Roots.